The organ here was first built in 1938 by the Skinner and Son Organ Company just north of Boston, Massachusetts. At the time that it was installed, it consisted of approximately 4,800 pipes and was one of the bigger instruments in the Washington area at that time. However, the cathedral was only about a third of the way completed at that time. The great choir, which is the area in which most of the organ is located, along with the sanctuary and the high altar and the apse of the cathedral had been completed, but the crossing and the nave had yet to be begun, and at the height of the Depression it was relatively uncertain as to whether or not the cathedral would ever be finished. So it was determined that a relatively small instrument for the completed space was all that was needed at that time. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, when work resumed and it looked as though the nave would be completed, it was determined that the organ should be made bigger, and that's when it grew to its current size of 10,650 pipes. Now, the smallest pipe is about 3 inches long and about the size of a pencil, and the largest pipe is 32 feet long and is large enough to climb inside of, and they are arrayed throughout the triforium of the cathedral. That is the level just below the stained glass, the clear story, which surrounds the cathedral. There are pipes lying down and standing up, really packed into all possible corners of the triforium, starting at the high altar at both sides of the cathedral and then going west around the corners into both transepts. So were you to sit in the choir, you'd be surrounded by the entire instrument, which makes for a wonderful musical effect. And among the musical effects that we rely upon, of course, are the extraordinary acoustics here of the cathedral. The hard surfaces of marble floors and limestone piers and columns all combine to create a wonderful reverberation, and we can get upwards of 9 seconds of that reverberation, which helps to shape the sound as it comes out of the organ, and also to give the music a very spacious and majestic feel. The console contains 4 manuals or keyboards for the hands and a pedal board for the feet. There are roughly 200 stop knobs which control the 186 ranks of pipes. The console is linked electrically to the wind chests themselves, which are all, of course, with the pipes in the triforium. There are 2 blowers in the crypt of the cathedral which supply wind to the wind chests. They go actually through the facades, behind the facades, that is, of the organ, from the crypt all the way up to the triforium, and then are distributed to all the wind chests. Essentially, every key on the console is an electrical switch, and when you press one, it opens a valve beneath the pipes that you have selected, and sound is produced rather instantaneously. If we were to build this organ again today, it would take somewhere between 2 to 3 years and upwards of $5 million to complete the project. It would take about a year to design and build the instrument. It would be completely assembled in an organ shop before being dismantled, brought here to the cathedral. And when it arrives here at the cathedral, it would take anywhere from a month or a couple of months to install the instrument. It's a relatively quick process because the design phase is very thorough, but then it would take another year or so to voice the instrument. And this process really represents the true art of organ building. It's the process by which a builder spends a little time with every individual pipe in the entire instrument, custom crafting them and fine-tuning them so that they speak well, of course, on their own, but together with the rest of the instrument as well. And depending upon each pipe's location and complexity of design, it can take anywhere from a few minutes to as many as 3 or 4 hours per pipe on average. And with over 10,600 of them, the process is quite long, quite rewarding if you ever were to come to the cathedral to hear the organ. We are about to embark upon a major renovation of this instrument. It's been over a generation since any major work has been done, and the Washington climate hasn't been friendly to the operating or moving parts of the instrument. And the cathedral, of course, has been finished in its entirety since the organ was last worked on, and the musical demands of the cathedral have grown, and we look forward to restoring the original portion of this instrument, in addition to the possibility of adding a more classic style mechanical action instrument in the west gallery of the cathedral. The organ here is a pleasure to play, and I hope that you have an opportunity to come to the cathedral and hear it in person.